Alright, fine. I think we're... Alright, finally got things under control. Finally getting things under control. So, first things first, hello, and welcome to another stream from Keobastein. As you can see, I am streaming Phantom Breaker Omnia SPICY Edition again. I did try to do, I did a 3-hour stream last week in an attempt to review the balance changes and whatnot. Unfortunately, only after when the stream ended and I tried to rewatch it, I found out there was an audio problem. I think now there isn't an audio problem, so yeah, I'm going to retry to do the stream and maybe do a better job of showing the difference since I have now Phantom Breaker Vanilla. So let's first get first thing straight. The one you see on the screen, this is Phantom Breaker version 1.03. This is the old Phantom Breaker essentially. While this screen, this is Phantom Breaker Spicy Edition, also known as version 2.0. So this stream is going to be dedicated to me showing the differences that was done both system and character wise. I won't do every single thing as a demonstration. For example, like we're going to have something that says, okay, let me see, I want to use, alright, like let's say right here when it says Ria's quick style killing artifact special, it says increased damage. I'm not really going to bother showing that because it's kind of easy to tell if something, sorry, you can just basically surmise, okay, it does greater damage, as in it does more damage. The difference would be if something says greatly increased damage, because apparently they do make distinction between increased damage and greatly increasing damage. So those I will actually go ahead and show the difference between them and whatnot. Unless there's a demand to actually show everything, then maybe I'll consider that as we go along. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. So first thing on the docket. So the first change is for quick and hard style, reduce the opponent knockback distance when clashing during counter burst and reflection. So let's go ahead and get a visual of how that looked in Phantom Breaker 1.3. Alright, so right now I got them on reflection. Reflection is like this game parry. So let's take a look at this. Do that one more time. As you can see, some pretty significant pushback. Well, I don't say significant. We got that. Now let's go ahead and look at how it looks on Spicy Edition. Let me actually get this mid-screen. There we go. Oh, hold on. Do I have... Okay, both of them are quick style. Cool. So here how it looks in this version. I can see barely any distance. Pretty much no distance really. This is actually a clash and not reflection. Because if I was reflection, I'll be stunned. Which for some reason my character isn't getting stunned. Wonder why. There you go. See, that's the stun. That's reflection and getting stunned. Now let's actually go back to the other game and show how reflection looked in the other game, just for clarity's sake. I'm not sure if I did already before, but yeah. As you can see, basically some pushback to be had and whatnot. Same thing with, I think the air version is about the same, so let's check the air version real quick. Do that one more time. Oh boy. There we go. Alright, let's see how it looks in Spicy Edition now.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, so you barely moving that because of that. It looks like Tokyo actually whipped this as attack a few here or there. So that, while mostly above, it definitely will require also some changes to get used to. Basically, people who do reflection now have a easier time closing the distance and getting hits in and whatnot. So yeah, that is the counterverse change. Let's look at the next thing now. The crossover animation that occurs when dashing into an opponent no longer occurs when dashing under an opponent in the air. Alright, so let's go ahead and see how that looked it in the number one. That's a number one. Version 1. Oh, dear Lord. Version 1.3, if you will. That's a 1.3. Yeah, 1.3. Yeah, let's just say 1.3. The zero sounded kind of redundant now. Any case. So as you can see, we still kind of do the dash. However, I'm going to actually change something with the computer. I'm actually going to go ahead and actually have myself do it manually, because Phantom Breaker Omnia is kind of an air footsie-like fighting game in a sense, because you have double jumps and there's a lot of air influence with jumping. So as you can see, the character does actually still do the crossover, even when they're airborne. And the reason why why I think they made the change for that is so people can do air unblockable setups. But let's go ahead and go into Phantom Breaker 2.0 to see how that looks on paper. So as you can see, unless they're actually on the ground, it's a little hard to show it with the single jump. But as you can see now, well, yeah. So pretty much it looks like pretty much when they're like, you know, within double jumping like height, then it doesn't trigger per se. Overall, it triggers less often, which is a good thing, because now in Phantom Breaker Omnia, like I said, you have double jump and high jump, which gives you a lot of directional influence and control in the air and whatnot. So this pretty much kind of really invalidate basically dashing on the ground, or basically ground movement in general. And the thing is, like, we have styles in this game. We have quick, hard, and Omnia. And hard style, they don't have a double jump. All they have is just a regular jump. So they basically had some difficulties doing air footsie, even though they have a mechanic specifically for that, but we'll get to that mechanic later. But their ground dash was slightly faster. Shorter distance, but slightly faster. Let's go ahead and bring that up real quick. That's a slightly faster. I lied. I take that back. Not slightly faster. I lied. I keep getting myself messed up. I think the switch over is faster per se, but irregardless, hardstyle did have issue dealing with people who were double jumping. So I believe the purpose of this change is so, one, now you have a reason to play a ground footsie game, because if someone is double jumping, or not doing it, let's say leaning very much on the high jump of the game, then you can do air unblockables, or basically just better opportunity to intercept, because now you're not doing the crossover arrangement. Because when you do the crossover arrangement, you can't attack or cancel it in any form. So now that you can actually stop yourself, now you actually have more opportunities to counter it. So not kind of, but air unblockable. See that's considered air unblockable. Actually, I do have a blocker, right? No, I don't have a reflection, so guard all. I keep getting it's a weird case. It's a weird case in this. How about this? Other characters do have also other air unblockable moves, so now you can more or less attempt to go for those a little more consistently and whatnot. Or just make sure you even whatchamacallit, what's the word I want to use, forgive me, more or less cross them up, or ground cross up, because when they're when they're jumping, they don't autocorrect, unlike me, like I'm doing that and I'm autocorrecting. While if they attack, they're still going to be facing the other distance and whatnot. And the only way to get around that is to either double jump, because high jump, because high jump autocorrects, but then again, so does double jump too. Well, darn, I got hard sauce, I can't show it there. But let's go ahead and go back to hard style real quickly. But yes, there we go, there's that. So overall, this makes the ground footsie game a lot more worthwhile, since one thing about well, let me get back to what I was saying before. I suck. So as you can see, yeah, when you double jump, then you not auto, but you what is autocorrect? There you go, autocorrect. As you can see, autocorrect. Regular jump, like see, I don't autocorrect unless I double jump or high jump and whatnot. And one thing about high jump is, while high jumps are also very good, because you know you have directional influence, you go up a pretty high distance, the startup is pretty instant, and I think there's even some momentary invincibility. I believe there is momentary invincibility at the startup, but that does also weakens your guard gauge and whatnot. So even though I did say high jumping was very strong, the fact that it does weaken your guard gauge was probably sort of the only trade-off. But now with the new design of now ground dashes don't auto cross up, this now allows ground footsie to have some presence against pretty much have some presence against people who jumping around a lot. So yeah, there's that change. So let's go on to the next thing. An air throw cannot be performed with the upwards forward direction input. You know what? I guess we could go ahead and show that as well. That probably shouldn't be too bad to show, I would feel. Sorry about that. There we go. So we did have the forward influence, but let's try when we're doing this. Doesn't look like it. So yeah, pretty much you can only do it if you're doing an actual forward or backwards animation. Now you might be asking, why is this change even significant? Well, here's one of the reasons why this change may be significant. Oh wow, no. So the thing about quick style, their counterburst, you're able to dash cancel, but then not only dash cancel, you can also high jump cancel. But like I said, if you high jump, if I don't press forward and up while high jumping, it kind of gets difficult to do certain things. So I think the purpose of this is so it can do a counterburst cancel into an air grab, because when you do counterburst cancel, you can air grab people. See, I had to let go of the upwards direction or to kind of, you know, get that going. I'm sorry. So now, when we go ahead and look back at version 1.3, see, I was able to do that much quicker. Much more quicker and faster to do, because now I can buffer it with the upwards direction.
That was pretty good.
So yeah, overall, up, because air throw is usually your most damaging attack that's not affected by damage scaling. You know, I take that back. I think it is affected by damage scaling, but there are usually a lot of characters good combo ender, like Itsuki is definitely her preferred combo ender and whatnot. Also, I think it doesn't give the point that much meter. So yeah,
that's pretty good.
Being able to combo the air throw, who wouldn't like that? So overall, good change as well. Now another change they made for quick and hard style. The auto gauge increase while in full tension gauge is now double, matching that of Omnia style. So let's go ahead and get a visual repetition. We're going to go ahead and go back to version 1.03. 1.3. I'm never going to get that properly. Now, actually, I am going to need to switch this up because both characters are in quick style. So let's go ahead and switch the characters around. Unfortunately, since I'm still on version 1.3 with this, there is no quick character switch. I still got to go back to character select screen and go through all the loading process. I just did it again. Silly. I'm so silly.
Choose your fighter. Style. Omnia. Good choice.
Before we go further, let's do a mic test just to make sure I'm not having audio issue again. Alright, so now we're good. You're going to bear with that echo. If I had a headset, that would have worked too, but I don't have a headset at the moment. So now, there we go. Key. Now, Omnia will build up to 2 gauges. That is Omnia's benefit. But as you can see, in one the tension gauge is a cycle. Like every time it gets built up, usually by dashing and other assortment of attacks, basically you get a time limit of how long tension mode lasts. Usually the first interval is 6 seconds and whatnot. Either way, in training mode, this is the first 6-second interval of tension mode. And as you can see, when it comes to the speed of quick style and tension mode, I barely get 1 gauge, while Omnia built 2 gauge. Granted, Omnia gets to build 2 gauge, while every other style only builds up to 1 gauge. But even on the 6th interval, as you can see, even on the first interval, Omnia style is getting 2 gauge outright, just signifying how big the meter build is. Let's go ahead and look at it one more time, just for clarity's sake and whatnot. Alright, now then, since we got that going on, I'm going to go ahead and switch now to Spicy Edition. So as you can see the speed difference. So essentially, in now Spicy Edition, you can build up to 1 tension gauge, which you can use. You can use your tension gauge and whatnot. So I can use it and then still get some more gauge build left over. Actually, even enough to almost 1%. Well, that's because I did a few hits in there. So essentially, now Quick and Hardstyle can take advantage of tension mode just as much as Omnia Style does. So that's what that change did. Alright. So now we're pretty much done with that. Now we're looking at the bug fixes. I'll do commentary on them, but I may not need to do an example of them. First off, fix an issue where the combo counter and combo duration did not reset after meeting certain conditions. Yeah, so essentially, people were having a lot of pistol life for one reason or another in Phantom Breaker Omnia. By pistol life, I mean people were basically living a lot more. Like damage duration just was kind of crazy in Phantom Breaker Omnia, essentially. And it looks like this glitch was an attempt to fix it. And I wonder if I can showcase this because I had some difficulty replicating on for myself, but let's see. Go ahead and put it on version 1.0 and see if I can replicate this or not. Not really sure, but I'll give it a shot.
Nonsense.
Actually, yeah, let's do that.
Is that it?
I think that actually did just show it.
All right.
Alright, what does that do by itself again? So no, that is about the same. Actually, hold on. There we go. Now, you know what? We'll leave it at this. Just understand that now damage is a little bit more, I want to say faithful. That's a faithful. Let's say a bit more apparent. I'm bad with words. Okay, yeah, definitely having some difficulty trying to replicate anything that showcased that. So we're going to go ahead and just say that now the game should be handling its damage scaling more appropriately. I think we could say that. Next issue. Fish an issue where the damage of counterbursts or critical bursts are applied to different attacks. Wouldn't know how to really replicate that myself, so just gonna take their word for it that okay. Maybe that was one of the reasons why we saw the obscene damage we've seen on certain attacks and whatnot. But yeah, leave that. Fits an issue where a character is not stunned even when the stun effect is displayed. It is a little difficult to even showcase this because there is no stun values I can adjust in this. Best thing I can say is, for the most part, we only seen like 3 characters who get stunned, while every other character rarely got stunned, even if they got hit a lot of times. So, pretty much, I'm hoping this means that now we will start seeing other people get stunned more regularly. So now we're going to this one. For Omnia Style, fits an issue where counterbursts decrease when a clash occurred during counterburst. This I can definitely show, and I have noticed this even myself now. So let's go ahead and bring 1.3 up now. Oh no, I already got. He's already whatchamacallit. Omnia version, so I can use the dummy instead of doing it myself. So as you can see, full gauge. Alright, now he lost 10% gauge and whatnot. So, constantly losing gauge. The fact that Omnia style also doesn't have access to a reflection, that means I could keep or rather I could keep fighting back and everything. And so you might be asking, okay, well, why did they even bother to change such a minuscule thing, if anything? Well, for starters, there is a very powerful technique that Omnia style does have, which does involve whatchamacallit, all range attack. So now that when they have full gauge, they got to do a guaranteed punish for full range attack. And let me show you what I mean. For starters, let's I hate this. I hate this so much. So for starters, you see how I can jump and save myself from what he's doing and whatnot. Because when a clash happens, you do have the ability to free cancel. You can't block because, well, that is slow enough for that to work. But overall, if you want to save yourself from a clash that happened, you will high jump and then air guard. That's what you will do. Now, wow, forgive me, lost my train of thought. Now, one way they could fight that back was use their, try to go for air unblockable. And Omnia style has an attack called all range that is perfect for such an occasion. So, I'll go ahead and show that right here. I suck. Alright, I think that did it.
Your pain will be fleeting.
Do I not have any block? Hold on. Yeah, because I don't have on blocking. That's. Ooh, boy, what training mode? Anyways.
But you'll live. Your pain will be fleeting.
Let's try that again.
Awesome!
Oh, damn. Sorry. Hey, I wasn't paying attention.
But you'll live.
There we go.
But you'll live. But you'll live. But you'll live.
Well, that's definitely going to catch because I'm still attacking.
You'll live.
Well, there you go. That sort of kind of got what I wanted.
But you'll live.
See, there you go. Trying to air jump away to save myself. No dice.
But you'll live.
Great!
So yeah, I believe that was the purpose for him for making that change. So Omnia style can use all range to punish people who try to high jump away to safety and whatnot. So yeah, there goes that change. Next change. The guard break value now resets every new round. This is not something I personally recall noticing, but at the same time, Phantom Breaker Omnia is a game where guard cancel rarely occurs because the guard gauge just lasts very, very long, as opposed to what it was in Phantom Breaker Extra. In fact, one of the characters who were top tier in Phantom Breaker Extra was a character named Ria. She was one of the characters who was top tier, basically top 2. And one of her defining trait was she was good at guard canceling. Sorry, I said guard canceling. Guard crushing or guard crash. Guard breaking an opponent. But because now guard gauge lasts excessively long, pretty much she didn't have that perk anymore, and she definitely went down in the tier list as a result when we went from Phantom Breaker Extra to Omnia. but we'll get to that when we can. Another issue. Vision issue where the burst gauge consumption from emergency mode was not correctly reflected back on the back end. Okay, yeah, so I can't show this. This was something that was really silly and stupid in Phantom Breaker Omnia. So, for starters, as you can see, I have my gauge right here. So, remember I said how you can use counter burst? As you can use counter burst cancel to dash cancel or high jump cancel and all that other nice stuff. So here's the thing. One, like I said, you need to use sorry. Forgive me. So you do need to use meter to do that and whatnot. But one of the things that Phantom Breaker Omnia has is something called overheat, where not overheat, let's say emergency mode. So whenever emergency mode happens, let's go ahead and showcase emergency mode. See, my meters will be gone, so I'm not supposed to have the ability to. I'm not supposed to have the ability to do this, but I still can do it. That doesn't go into other things. Like I can't use my supers or ES or anything, but and I can see right now I can't build any gauge or anything. So your penalty for using emergency mode was the fact that you had lost your option to do counter burst cancel. So right now, all right, as you can see, I have my meter no longer in overheat state, but I can't counter burst cancel it because I don't have the meter. The game's like, no, you need to have that resources. But when something like this can occur, oh damn, I messed that up, and I messed that up as well. I'm really gonna hate. So one thing that was really stupid, and one, you can't actually combo from your emergency mode if you get a counter hit. Itsuki might be a little bit harder to test because she's definitely a lot smaller. Did I say smaller? Sorry, not as much reach. Let's go and just go to the corner just so I can show this case now. Now, not the best showcase of it, but as you can see, yeah, you were able to do that, and other characters can really capitalize on that. Now, in Phantom Breaker Spicy Edition,
Hurts, doesn't it? No escape!
Sorry about that. Cool.
yeah, as you can see now, I cannot counter burst cancel it. So essentially a nerf, but actually a justifiable nerf, and what? So yeah,
Cool.
won't stay on too longer because we still got a lot to go, and we're already breaking an hour mark. So now the next change. The CPU now correctly guards an attack when performing a guard point attack, even if it's set to no guard any attack. This is something training mode related. Don't really feel the need to kind of showcase this because even I don't fully understand it myself just yet. But now we're going to get to the meat and potatoes of this. We're going to now character stuff. So first off is Itsuki. Oh, Vaporwave Light. What do you mean all? I mean all, this is applicable to all styles. So Vaporwave Light. The initial portion of the first hit is now unblockable while crouching. So basically this should be saying this is an air unblockable attack. I always thought that it was always air unblockable, but I could have been wrong. So let's go ahead and go to the first game and see if that is the case. I'm pretty sure I have him blocking. Yeah, he's blocking, so to be honest, this is a change that's kind of thrown me off because I was pretty confident this was air unblockable. Did I say air unblockable? Sorry. Is whatchamacallit? Ground unblockable? Let me review that list one more time. While crouching. So yeah, that is a particular thing I don't know. I'm not sure that's an error, or maybe I might ask for elaboration on that. Maybe there are some weird cases where certain characters, the first hit wasn't air unblockable, or maybe they mean that's air unblockable. I keep saying air, ground, overhead. Now maybe it's air unblockable, but I don't think that is the case. So why not we explore that just for the sake of it? Let's be thorough. Yeah, just some limited tests on both ends, and both of them are air blockable, so not really sure what that change means. So we're gonna go ahead and just move on to the next one. Now this one is the interesting one. Vaporwave ES. Change the blowback trajectory and hitbox. The first and second hit now force a wall bounce, extending the hitbox of the third and fourth hit. Alright. So let's go and take a look at what it looks at in the first one. So, as you can see, if I try, one thing that I mentioned before, supers are usually air unblockable. So this is a way of people dealing with people being in the air. And one thing also is the fact that when you're in the air, you have like a really small hitbox. So it does take a bit of precision to try to hit people who are in the air. In any case, this super, even say when I hit the air opponent, they fall out and can still miss. So yeah, now let's go into Spicy Edition and see how they changed it to make it improve. Like I said, the first two hit changed the hit and trajectory. So now look what happens when he gets hit. Alright. Still got some funkiness going on, but they now just fall straight down. Meaning it's now more possible. There you go, I see you got the full hit. So probably not really that ideal with close range, but this, now she's guaranteed to get the hit because they won't fall out randomly. So now it's more consistent and whatnot.
Nonsense.
Giving her another reliable option. Granted, she also does have this. That's also pretty good and air unblockable. Probably even easier to land. But this one does have more damage and also gives an instant corner. So that is also pretty good as well. Let's go ahead and the first second now force a wall bounce. I wonder if that is true because I haven't even tested this out myself. But let's see. So if that is true, that she does get even much more significant damage, but I don't think I know it's a wall bounce. Okay, she did get, I think she did get a ground slam from that. Yeah, actually, now I think that don't mean wall bounce, but it means an actual ground slam. Which, that does add additional damage. Like that actual smackdown when you come to the ground. That is actual additional damage. So that's what they mean by the first hit. First or second hit. It will do an actual ground slam. And that's why it becomes a critical hit, because we hit an opponent that's on the ground, that's also considered a counter hit. I would like to showcase that. Okay.
Nonsense.
Yeah, we'll leave that alone for now. So, before we stop that. So. Alright, next thing. Vapor Typhoon. Increased damage, but also now the pivot now launches the opponent vertically. So let's go and see how they look in 103. I am really gonna hate this. I really hate my stick layout. So looks pretty. So when I do compare it, I think they're about similar. Yeah, so from looking from that and then into this, I think they're about similar. Besides the fact that it does have extra damage, but I'm going to assume that the main reason they mentioned that pivot does whatever it does is to...
Excellent.
Did I do more damage? Let me go back to the old one real quick. Oh, that's more damage. I'm going to assume that the last so let's go and look at this. Increased damage. I didn't notice increased damage because it was very much similar, I think. But they also say the pivot now launches the opponent vertically. So I'm going to assume that there are cases where the opponent may have potentially fall out of the combo for one reason or another, or the last hit actually. Does this work on crouching people? Now that I think about it. Like, do they stay crouching? Let's see. Does this force him to stand up? Yeah, it does force him to stand up, so... Yeah, not really sure what that change also signifies either. Oops. Oh, dear. My controller got messed up. So, yeah. Not really sure what that means. This one, now, hardstyle, horizontal grand slam, greatly increased damage. So we can go ahead and, oh, I don't have it on the screen. So, they do say that this super in particular should do more damage. So let's go and do a comparison to see how accurate that is. So, oh wait, I don't want to do them when they're crouching because the opponent does take extra damage when crouching. So to kind of keep it consistent, let's just go ahead and do it when they're standing. So, if I'm correct, we saw 4.1K. Let's do that again just for you know, just to make sure. So that kind of averagely does 4.1K. All right, so we see that. So now let's go ahead and look at Spicy Edition. I'm not gonna do it when I'm in the corner because corner does increase damage. So we won't do that.
It's way too fast.
And I got them blocking because I'm special.
Don't say you're sorry. It's way too fast.
Alright, so almost roughly another 1,000 on top of what? Yeah, almost 1.2k of additional damage and whatnot. So I would definitely say that's somewhat of a greatly increased damage. Just you're doing another 1,000 and whatnot. So yeah, that reference that. So that will be Itsuki. Let's go ahead and go to the next character now, which is Ria. So first thing on Ria docket is, actually let me get me set up on this side so we're not. So they say that enlarge the hitbox of the first hit and remove the hitbox of the second. And before I go further, let's do an audio check. Bear with the bear with the echo for a second. Just want to make sure my audio is coming up right. Alright, audio sounds like we're doing pretty good, so let's go ahead and keep going. So yeah, enlarge the hitbox of the first hit and remove the hitbox of the second hit. So essentially her grab should do lesser. So let's go ahead and check that out on Phantom Breaker 1.3. Oh boy, that one. Fine, I just tell the dummy to jump. That's it. There we go. Woo! So yeah, that's how her air grab went. Does 2 hits and whatnot, as you can see. Actually, I think even Omnia does 2 hits, but I think the trajectory might be different now. So yeah, that's how it looks in Phantom Breaker 1.3. Now let's go ahead and go to Spicy Edition, which I should have set up properly first, but we live and learn. Go ahead and have the same dummy, just stay consistent. So as you can see, they're falling much slower. So that, I believe that also gives Ria some more ulti time. And actually maybe even an opportunity to combo if I'm good enough.
Not that easy. What the? Not that easy.
I definitely have combo with
Not
combo
that easy.
before.
What the?
Well, you can definitely do that because we definitely couldn't do that in the old one. Let's go ahead and do. Let's go ahead and just visually show that just to make sure. Yeah, not only that, I think she even gets even true hard knockdown. Yeah. Well, no, not true hard knockdown. But either way, because of how fast they fall, yeah, I can't really combo off of that. I mean, she could do this, but that's not really anything substantial. But now that we can do that, we can do this and go to work. So yeah, hello there. Thank you for joining me on the stream. Hope you're doing well. Getting back to the swing of things now. By swing of things, as in the reviewing this command. I say command list, patch list. So now the next change, Ria's double fang. So double fang for the light, medium, and E-verse. Greatly increase the guard break value inflicted upon the opponent when they guard against the attack. In fact, this actually sends me back to what I was talking earlier. Ria, initially in Phantom Breaker Extra, was one of the top tier characters because she was very good at guard breaking her opponent. Unfortunately, going into Phantom Breaker Omnia, they decided to increase the guard gauge value to the point where guard crush is not very likely. It's not basically very not likely really. And here we are. So, sorry, here's our double frame. We're just going to go ahead and keep doing this for a bit and just see where we go. See how far. As you can see, the guard gauge is kind of just staying there and whatnot. And personally for me, I think this is excessive. And technically it's still present, but now let's go ahead and look at Phantom Breaker Spicy Edition. As you can see, the guard gauge is turning red. That's indicating that the guard gauge is getting weakened, and there we go. We got a guard break. This is much more reflective of how it was back in Phantom Breaker Extra. And the reason why they made this change is because before Phantom Breaker Omnia, they designed Ria all around breaking people's guard gauge. Because her missile is not really that good. Like her overhead, I mean, she has this, but one, it's a committable overhead. She can't really do left or right with it well. At best, she does have this. This is a decent overhead if you can time it really well, but otherwise Ria was not good at opening up people when it came to doing mix-ups and whatnot. I mean, she does have like this, which like cause ambiguous swaps up with certain setups, but overall she was designed around guard crushing people. Now, when Phantom Breaker Omnia came around, guard gauge was just too strong. As far as I'm concerned, still too strong. So they realized, oh yeah, that change really hurt Ria. Let's go ahead and fix her, give her back to her old glory. So initially, before Spicy Edition, I would say Ria was in bottom 5 because she was just a person. She was basically just not what she used to play. She's not playing the same game anymore. Her tools were based around guard crushing, and Phantom Breaker Omnia wasn't allowing that. Now she can guard crush people reliably. So a really worthwhile change, I would say. Who was calling? Be right back, guys. Apologies, everybody. So, yeah, like I said, Ria is now back to her old glory, back to being a stronger character. She's now sorta. I don't know if I'll say I put her back at the top tier thing, because she now got competition with Sophia and a few other characters. But Ria at least now feel like she is a real character, or at least she's seeing like her old self. So that is good. Now, Spinning Edge, light and medium. Extending the hitbox of the later half of the attack upwards and inwards towards Ria. The landing hit is now SP cancel. So let's go ahead and take a look at how this looks now. This is Spinning Edge, if I'm correct. Well, darn. Let me look at the command list on my other side to make sure. Yeah, Spinning Edge. This is her Spinning Edge and whatnot. So they said the light and medium, now she's pretty much They say they got, you know, the hit. Okay, see, I can't cancel the 5 SP. I always thought she could, but apparently not. Huh? Wow, they really designed that. Yeah, as you can see, I can't. I have to wait till the ending animation, and probably also means that she can also use it reliably as an anti-air, because that was her move to kind of get people back on the ground and then keep pressuring and whatnot. So let's see if we can get see how it works on airborne people. A little difficult to see how it is, but okay. Overall, oh boy, I'm using a micro box, and the button for a home button is very close. So yeah, as you can see that. Now let's go ahead and look at Spicy Edition. Oh yeah, I forgot they changed it on this version. I'm being silly. Yeah, that's how silly I am. So as you can see, much quicker. Definitely, right? And not only that, she can cancel that. So yeah, as you can see, they definitely did make it SP cancelable. I guess we should actually try the hitbox of it in the air, see how that is.
Up here. Up here. Up here. Up here.
Okay, yeah, that definitely didn't have a hitbox that like pushes them towards her and whatnot. Actually, I think this is to catch people who are trying to dash under her. So it looks like there's an attack hitbox behind her. Oh wow, yeah, that does a lot more hits than what it did last time. So yeah. And now that she can do that, she can easily catch people into a pretty much, you know, an unblockable situation. Cause yeah. So now that she can do that, now she can get into an unblockable situation. Well, I'm not sure why that didn't work, but I guess because the projectile was too far away. But yeah, definitely making her looking stronger. So let's look at the next change. Gatling Slash. Oh wow, yeah, this greatly reduced the recovery time. Let's go ahead and see how that looks in 1.3 version. So this is how it is currently right now. One more time. Now let's go ahead and take a look at it in Omnia style. That's it, Omnia style. Spicy Edition. Did it say greatly reduce? Did it say greatly reduced recovery time? Huh. Okay, well, I think she's definitely plus. If I want to say, no, there's a better way to test that. The old have them jump thing, yeah. So let's go and go back to Phantom Breaker Vanilla and try this out. Might be a bit tricky considering that. Okay, there we go. All right, we sort of got it there. So now let's try this in Spicy Edition. Oh yeah, because they're on hard stop, they're also gonna float and probably like to be as quick with their jump. So Let me go ahead and make that switcheroo real quick. Hope everyone's doing well. So now. Alright, so I don't know if I could say greatly, but it is definitely faster. She's definitely is faster. That much I can at least say. Probably plus enough to maybe stop her from jumping? Who knows? Why to make the change? Probably just to make this overall a better move. Since it doesn't go, the original purpose of the move was being a very good guard crush move and a combo ender, but now that it doesn't really have that good value as a guard crush, at best it was just now only a combo filler move, but now I guess this gives her pressure resets and whatnot. She may even have better combos, not entirely sure. So yeah, that one greatly better. So now let's look at her quick killing artifact. This is on level 2 super. It says increased damage. We're not going to bother with that. Hard Fang Spiral. So essentially this is the super where she sends out multiple of the projectiles. And it said greatly increase the guard break value upon the opponent when they guard against the attack. Just to kind of show how excessive the guard break is, I think it's worth showing it in also the vanilla version.
Choose your fighter. Ria. Style. Hard. Shizuka. Style. Good choice.
So this super right here, pretty nifty. Actually, also in contention one of the best Phantom Breakers I feel. So as you can see, opponents still have a healthy guard gauge after experiencing a full barrage of that. Healthy guard gauge. At best, they took some considerable chip damage. Now, let's go ahead and look at Spicy Edition. It's some guard break. Now, when your guard break does break, it does come back reinforced, and usually it doesn't go down also until a few seconds has elapsed. This is so multiple guard crush didn't occur in the old game, because you could land multiple guard crush if they didn't have that. But as you can see,
Fun's just getting started.
pretty much immediate guard crush. And that's the thing. That was Ria's thing. She was the character that was best at guard crushing her opponent. So I am glad to see that they realized that the changes they made in Phantom Breaker Omnia hurted Ria. So now they addressed that. I still feel a few characters might need that same level of attention when it comes to guard gauge, but I'm glad to see that they're just heading in the direction I think is the right direction, appropriate direction. So now let's go ahead and go into Shizuka. That is going to be our next character. I'm going to load this up right here, and then I'll start reading some of the parts. I'm not going to go through all of this because most of this is like hitbox or hurtbox adjustments per se. I am not the Shizuka I'm not the Shizuka player, but I do know of a Shizuka player who claims that all her combos are very character specific due to how her attacks work. But now with the recent change, they say now her combo is much more consistent around the whole cast. So then they need to have multiple different routes for characters. So now let's go ahead and go to the first thing. Standing hard punch, I'm actually still want to show this because I do think this is actually pretty significant, actually. So we will actually look at this one. So in Phantom Breaker Omnia 1.3, this was Shizuka's heart attack, as you can see. You see that little blade attack right now? See how I'm getting close? How even she's not reacting to it? Saw how close I had to get till she actually reacted to it? Well, that was a little too close. Yeah, still too close. As you can see, it looks like the attack is pretty much in her hitbox range. Well, sorry, it looks like it. I mean, granted, fighting games do have weird, janky hitbox and hurtbox. But as you can see, it just looks like it's whiffing on her. Like, how deep do you need this attack to be just for that to hit? So this kind of made this a pretty much underwhelming tool of the zone. I mean, it still had its purpose, but it was underwhelming. Now in Phantom Breaker Spicy Edition, let's take a look at it now. We're gonna do an audio check just to make sure my audio is still coming in nicely. Alright, sound like we still got it going on. Bear with the echo, please. So now here's Omnia style. Adjective. There you go. Already been showing it. See, apparently her hitbox is by her hand, because now that I actually attack near her hand is actually connecting. This gives Shizuka a much better chance at dealing with Zoner, because Shizuka is not that great at dealing with Zoner. Not helpless, but not that great. She definitely has some challenges trying to outpoke other people, because this game does have a lot of characters with big pokes. But good on her. Good on her. So now the next change. Jump H. Extend the hitbox and clash box forward and downwards. So I'm assuming this means that her attack pretty much has a longer lasting hitbox and it clashes more reasonably with characters and whatnot. I am not confident in my ability to showcase this, but I'm going to assume that because the hitbox was extended, this made her combos much more reliable and whatnot. Because in the juggle that the Shizuka player I know does, mentions how the jump H whips a fair bit. Actually, I played Shizuka for a bit too, and I had that trouble as well. And her jump 2H, also the same thing. Extended the hitbox upon landing, so make sure you know she actually hits the opponent and whatnot. So that's pretty good. So now let's go to this. ES Hayate, increase travel distance. So let's go ahead and take a look at that, how to look in vanilla. Oh wow, that really was short range. So, as you can see, this is Hayate. Let's back over it. This is the distance that ES Hayate travel. Actually, before we go further, I am going to do one more change character, because ES Hayate did get some buff from the old version, as in Phantom Breaker Extra. Like, Shizuka was actually one of the worst characters in Phantom Breaker Extra, so she got the biggest glow up going to Phantom Breaker Omnia, in my opinion. But when I was playing Shizuka a bit, I noticed that ES Hayate wasn't really that good as a combo tool, but it was good at countering. I need a projectile that's not going to be small. Who could I use? So I'm having an issue because I know there's some characters who had projectiles that's like so high that Shizuka even low profiles it. So I'm trying to figure out which one I can use that won't do that. Fine, let's try May. I think it might work with May. Oh. So you see, when Shizuka clashes, her attack immediately starts the whatchamacallit. She starts the initial attack. Well, that's not a good showcase of it. Huh. So you see, that's a punish because I do have her blocking. She will block. Oh boy. Boy, do I suck at this. Okay, I guess she got projectile invulnerability as well. Some of it. overall, maybe May's not the best showcase with her projectile. I don't really want to use. You know what? Yeah, Sophia's fine. I think Sophia should work. So yeah, with how that is, opponents basically can't get out of her range and she can't punish. Now let's go ahead and look at Phantom Breaker Spicy Edition. And before I actually, before we even do that, let's go ahead and look at the distance she travels. Now she pretty much will travel up to the opponent. So yeah, they did increase the distance, but the application for it, at least I believe the application for it is for this. And I do have her blocking. Oh boy, I keep messing that up. Probably wasn't. Yeah, as soon as she actually has an easier time getting through people's projectiles. And I can still catch her. Unless the game's not continuing to block. You know what? I'm gonna do that one more time. Because the dummy keep resetting the recording, I think. I do not know why that dummy acts like that. Alright, and you definitely know I have. Hold on. Do I have it set to them blocking? Yeah, do I guard all? Okay. Yeah, so as you can see, that's what I believe was the application for the ES Haite being her way to deal with projectiles. And it looks like they saw that too, so that's why they increased the speed of it to make sure it has that. Now, the next thing, Chrism. This is actually one of our command overheads. Now forces a wall bounce. So let's go ahead and take a look at that in Phantom Breaker 1.3. So that's like Chrism. That's what it did. No wall bounce. Medium version will wall bounce, or rather, it's simple into the wall. She doesn't get guaranteed wall bounce unless a counter hits. But the light version, this is all she got. And no frame advantage, highly punishable on block as well. So there was very little reason to use this, outside the fact that it was projectile invulnerable. Like, this is projectile invulnerable, and I think maybe even strike, maybe, but hard to say. Now in Phantom Breaker, Spicy Edition.
Crimson.
Now, the Spicy Edition, she gets wall bounce and it's a guaranteed one like that, which allows her to get combo. So now this went from
Crimson.
I think I saw that whip for a second.
Crimson.
Woo!
Crimson.
This game hitbox and hurtbox. What a thing. Anyways,
Crimson.
now she can do that. And one of the best, probably one of the best applications for this thing is the fact that now she can do something like this. So that, as you can see, that did a lot of damage. The reason there's a lot of damage because one, we're already by the corner, so there's a lot of damage for that. Second, wall bounce is collision damage. Like you do take additional damage from collision. So yeah, pretty much Shizuka Kong potential has gone up higher, as well as her actually for defensive read, she gets even higher rewards and whatnot. So yeah, they made a move that was nearly useless to now more useful, which pretty good. Now let's look at the next one. Guren. Both first and second hit now force a raw bounce. This is actually the ES version of that the ES version of Crimson essentially. So let's take a look how that looked in Phantom Breaker 1.3. This is what it is. Just the 2 hit and not even a wall bounce. And yes, she is punishable. That is punishable. Not only that, it looked like she didn't even get the second hit when she had the wall. She only got 1 hit. Pretty much made the application of this move very niche in use. At best, you could do it for this as an OTG pickup because it picks people up. But otherwise, not all that great in general. Now in Phantom Breaker Spicy 2.0, we get some real fun stuff. For starters, guaranteed wall bounce.
Shut up, you.
But then on that, like I said, they said first and second hit wall bounce. So look what happened when I do it to the point in the corner. You see it did 4 hit because the first hit was a hit. Then they got hit with the wall bounce. Then the second third hit hit them and it forced another 4th wall bounce. Not 4th one. It has 2 different wall bounce. So now this move's damage output has gone exceptionally higher, making a better move in general and making Shizuka that much scarier to fight when in the corner.
Shut up, you.
So yeah, overall, a great improvement buff. This made a move that was pretty much almost rarely worthwhile to use, now worth using. Now this is essentially her combo ender. Originally her combo ender was essentially this. So this is what she would do, and then combo from there and do something. But now she has this instead. And like I said, ES High hasn't lost its usage because I still think it's a good whip punish move due to it can still be projectiles. And then not only that, she can now also get even big rewards for doing this. Doing this. Oh yes. Is it because I'm close? So yeah, she can do stuff like that. So Shizuka can definitely get more damage out. So that's really good for her. Next move. Raining Blossom, Pedal Storm. Greatly increase the damage of the 4th and 5th hit. It says greatly, so yeah, we're gonna go ahead and take a look at that, see how it looked in 1.3. This is the move in question. So she got 2.2k. One more time, just for verification. Yeah. So now let's look how it looks like in Phantom Breaker Spicy. If I'm correct, that was still 2.2k. Am I not correct? Am I using Pedal Storm? Yeah, you brought some Pedal Storm. They said greatly increased damage, so there is an air version variant. Maybe that does more damage, but I'm not really confident in saying that. Now let's just to stay consistent, we'll go ahead and do both versions just to compare properly. All right, so so she got 13K for that. What we're looking at here in non-spicy edition? Oh, okay. So we're talking about the air version, because yeah, on the ground version, that's the damage you get for doing the ground version. Yeah, good. That's the damage you get for doing that. But the air version, in Breaker Omnia, she was only getting 1.8K if I'm correct. No, not even 1. She got 1.3. Now, to be fair, I can probably understand why they were hesitant to make this move stronger, because this is air unblockable. It is very fast. She's actually I think she'll even be, I don't want to say plus. I don't know if I want to say plus, but she's actually not even really that punishable either. Or, sorry, it's a difficult move to punish, to say. So now they made the air version be much more substantial. Yeah, it should be doing 2.K, or at least for a meter use move, it should be doing something substantial, in my opinion. And I do think that is a substantial move. Sorry for taking long to figure that out, but hey, we figured it out. Now, we're going to her Phantom Breaker. Godspeed, Sturm and Drain. So, let's go ahead and see what that looks like. So, this is the move in question. Actually, we probably should have read. I don't think I even read it out. Let's read that again. Godspeed, Sturm and Drain. 1. Increased damage. Enlarge the hitbox of the lunging portion of the attack. Added projectile invulnerability to the lunging portion of the attack. Remove clash box from the lunging portion of the attack. Remove clash. Oh, because I think you were able to. I did clash against this move. Oh, okay. I see what they did. All right, so 1. I guess I didn't bring this up. Just so visually you can see what I was reading. Yeah, increased damage, enlarge the hitbox and lunging portion of the attack, added projectile visibility portion to the attack, and remove clash box. Going back to the move. So let's go ahead and have her go against Sophia's projectile. Because I actually thought it was projectile invulnerable already, but I don't know everything. I can admit that. Oh dear. Oh dear. I suck. Yeah. So that doesn't work for, at least like, ES Hayate. That's how people would capture for using ES Hayate. But now her Phantom Breaker is supposed to be able to deal with this. That was definitely a weird interaction. But you can see, she even didn't get the projectile out. So, well, actually, no, I forgot. This is quick version. I'm an idiot. This is quick version. I'm sorry. This is not the new version. So, as you see, this is how her Phantom Breaker acted in version 1.3. loss of damage, clash, yeah, all that. So now let's look at how it operates in Spicy Edition. Am I really not that fast? Let's do that real quick, just because I really want to, you know, catch it all. Yep, she's getting her full attack. It's not clashing or anything like that, and she's fully invulnerable, so she's not getting clipped or she's not clashing with the opponent's attack. And as you can see, the damage is, well, I think the damage is slightly improved, but not that much improved. I'm pretty sure that's a punish. So yeah, that's how that move operates when... Yeah, so overall made the move much better. So now Shizuka can deal with zoners much more reliably now if she's using meter options, which should be the case. I'm okay with characters who have weakness. If they use meter, then their weakness can be somewhat mitigated, or at least give them something. Well, let me say mitigated. So yeah, this helps mitigate her weakness against zoners. So the last thing, Divine Wind Blast, increase the damage. So let's go ahead and do that now. We're going to go ahead and switch over to Phantom Breaker 1.3. I'm going to change it here too, just to keep it quick. Alright, let's go ahead and switch over to now Phantom Breaker 1.3 and see how this super works, or let's see its damage. So as you can see, 4.7 if I was correct. Let's do that one more time. I wonder if I did that properly because, oh boy. Yeah, so 4.7k. Now let's go ahead and look at that damage in Phantom Breaker Spicy.
Excellent.
So, basically she got additional 400 damage if I'm correct. Let's see. Now, what's about 400 damage? It seemed like 400, maybe 350 damage. About 300 damage, essentially. So yeah, I don't know if I would say great it would be the word I'll use, but then again, 300 is not nothing to scoff at either, and whatnot. So yeah, that's decent, that's good. And that is going to wrap up Shizuka. So let's go ahead and see who's the next person we're on. We're on Waka now. Hopefully this will be much slower, much quicker since it's not much extensive. So Waka, the neighboring priestess and whatnot. Waka in the old game wasn't really that great of a character. I mean, I'd say that she was definitely, she was definitely bottom mid tier, higher, but in the high bottom tier. That sounds so good to say. Overall, Waka had some strength, but she definitely had some issues, and it looks like they mostly gave her buffs all this time around. So first things first, Koryujin light version. The area attack second hit is now jump cancelable. So what is Koryujin? Well, Koryujin is this move. That's Koryujin. This is her DP and her anti-air move and whatnot. Pretty, I mean, it kind of does what it needs to do. Sometimes hit people off, can hit people. But now that it's SP countable, she can do. Well, oh wait, well I can't do it now because, you know, as you see, trying to I can only cancel the first hit, not the second hit. So going into Phantom Breaker, whatchamacallit, Spicy Edition, that should be changed, and I'll show that change momentarily. By momentarily, once I get this game loaded up proper. I could go ahead and switch this now. So here's Phantom Breaker Spicy Edition. And I just say, you can cancel that. Which also gives her a pretty interesting poke to use. But then not only that, this also does something else she can now do. She can do overdrive cancel. She doesn't have any air super, so she has super in the air. She could technically go to air super, but she doesn't have any air super. But if she's in quicker hearts out, she can do this, which means she can get more of her DP. Or even better, she can make her DP safe now, because it's even works on whip cancel. So pretty much Waka is made safer by this move, and that's a pretty significant thing because one, not really like her to get to make their reversal moves safe, like Shizuka for example. Well, actually, Shizuka can make her DP safe because she first do a few several ground hits, and then she starts going into the air and whatnot. But once she's in the air, she can't cancel her air action. But I think I can still show this. So look at this. And see, I'm trying to cancel it. Not possible. Like that, yeah. If long story on the ground, technically you can still do that. The game's rule seems to be that if you do any air special that's like in the air, you're not able to really cancel it usually. That is usually how their rules seem to work and whatnot. So, yeah, pretty good change for Waka. Now, Koryujin, the aerial attack after the second hit is now SP cancelable. So pretty much this is the same thing for her, whatchamacallit. This is the same thing for her medium version of the DP. So we won't really need to go into that. However, they also now added. So now this is Koryusugesujin. This is the fifth hit now forces a wall bounce. This was one of Waka's only other really good special moves, I would say. By special, I mean ES special moves. For stars, let's go and see what that look in Phantom Breaker 1.3. The main purpose of the move was to get immediate corner advantage, but as you can see, Waka is negative because the opponent is starting to tech before her. Maybe some instances she may even be punishable, so that made this move sort of like probably a gamble for certain matchups or cases and whatnot. But now, since it actually has a forced wall bounce on the hit, she now actually even gets even more damage, and she's even plus. So in other words, she can start running up to herself and whatnot. The one I thought she could OTG pick up, but nah. She can't OTG pick up, but the attack from that is way too, what's wrong to use? Too quick. Like, they push right way too quickly for it to be able to do anything. But overall, better damage and less recovery. No, sorry. Better damage, and she's more plus now because of the knockdown. So, yeah, definitely quality of life improvement. What is this again? No. So now, Tinhoryukuijin. greatly increase the damage. So, if I'm correct, I believe this is her DP Super? Is that what it is? Reciprocal coordination? Oh yeah, that is her DP Super, yeah. So let's go and look at how it looked in the old game. Oh dear. So yeah, the damage we're seeing, 2.2k. So that's how this worked in that version. So now let's go ahead and look at how it looks in Spicy Edition. I kind of missed the damage because I wasn't paying attention. So 2.4k. So slight improvement in damage. Not that substantial, but not bad. Considering that this is one of her reliable anti-air super, since even though this is good wall carry, it's very difficult to aim at a ground opponent. And this same thing with this one. Like that could potentially OTG, but because it's a ground fireball, not really that reliable. So she did use this for anti-air, but it was also much trickier to hit people with this. That much I can tell you. So yeah, there's that move. So they say greatly. I don't know if I would agree with saying it greatly increased, but then again, it's not a terrible move either. Hard Suggestion, this is her hard style final super, which, well, I better stay consistent, but that's, we might go ahead and call a break just because it's going to 2 hours and my throat is hurting. So actually, yeah, after Waka, we're going to go ahead and probably take a break. So let's go and look at the last part, and then the stream is going to take a bit of a break. So first off, alright, so, oh well, I need to change character. Keep forgetting. Let's do an audio check for the people, because, well, I mean, I probably should suspect that now my audio isn't terrible, but, can't be too careful, right? By too careful, don't also distract yourself and not finish what you're setting out to do. And I actually exited the game out. Well. Alright, mic check seems fine so far. Alright, let's get this up so we can take a break and I don't keep you people here hostage. Oh boy. Doesn't matter. What can I use? Not really. Let's go ahead and switch this one as well, just so I'm not taking too much time either. Alright, here we are. So let's go and look at this damage now. So 3.6k. That's how much her level 2 is. Now, while admittedly that is also low damage at the same time, this is kind of a I control the screen type of Phantom Breaker. You don't think it's all that great, at least kind of sort of has that going. Like she does sort of more or less get to control the screen at that time. So now let's look at the Spicy Edition. Oh yeah, I would say that is pretty greatly increased. We're really seeing another 1,000, maybe 500 on top of that. So for a super of this caliber, that's not terrible.
Awesome.
Almost 5,000 actually. So it does seem like this move is spacing dependent, but yeah, 4.7k. Yeah, that does make this feel a bit more worthwhile to use. and whatnot. So yeah, that's actually going to go ahead and cover Waka. And that's going to go ahead and be this stream. We're going to go ahead and take a break. I will see y'all guys a bit later. Take care.